Welcome to Running on Reddit. r/JUSTNOMIL, where mother-in-laws are a piece of work and just plain old nasty. A year ago, mum came to visit on Mother's Day and presented me with the key to her new house, which was a 5-minute drive from us. Her house before this was a 5-hour drive. I had no idea she was moving until that moment. We've neglected to set boundaries before now. The reason we struggle with boundaries is we've never really had to set them, as before this, we only had dear husband's mother in our lives, and she was a just yes, very respectful, never overstepped, and constantly checked with us before doing anything. Mother-in-law passed away suddenly towards the end of my pregnancy, and my father passed away 6 months before my mother moved here. Because mother-in-law was so great with boundaries, we never had to set them. So once mum moved here, we didn't really know how to tell my newly widowed mother that we needed space. However, over the years she's been nearby, things have escalated massively with my mum, and I've found myself having to tell her off more than once. Weird role reversal, due to how she's talked to or about dear daughter or dear husband. I posted on Am I the Booty Hole the other day because my mum pierced my daughter's ears because dear daughter looks like a little boy, according to her, which she really doesn't. She just looks more like her father than me. So we were thinking about moving. We had numerous conversations about it with her, saying that we weren't going to change our daughter's appearance, and then we left mum alone with our daughter for a few hours while we looked at a preschool, and she pierced dear daughter's ears. I kicked mum out and changed the locks so she couldn't get in. We took the piercings out, no easy feat as they were done with a piercing gun and were therefore really tight, and the holes sealed overnight. Mum has come by the house multiple times since we kicked her out asking to see us, and we've ignored her. Then today I heard a car pull up, assumed it was her, and went back to doing laundry. Then I hear something fall and dear daughter crying. I legged it in the direction of the noise, and mum had pulled the window open and was trying to climb in. Room was ground floor facing the street. When I see her, she doesn't freeze or apologize or explain. She instead tells me that dear husband is keeping me and dear daughter from her, and he's working against her. I yanked the window shut and locked it and called dear husband. I can't believe I was dumb enough to leave it unlocked, but never in my wildest dreams did I think my mother would try and clamber through a window into my living room. Dear husband has suggested moving. His job pays well, we had some savings, and the company he works for has enough branches throughout our country and several other countries that, if we needed to move, we could. And I was planning on transitioning back into the workplace this September when dear daughter goes off to preschool. We've looked into options and it's possible, and we could make it work. There are places we could go with more preschools, including ones with security, more job opportunities for me, and there are a few where there's a lower cost of living, and dear husband could earn more, and he says it can all be sorted with a transfer request, so long as there's a position available. Edit. I have already called the non-emergency line, and have been told that 1, where we live, piercing isn't assault, and 2, restraining orders will have our home address on it. We think moving is the smart option. However, if she finds us, it's worthless. Does anyone have experience with getting far away from their just no mother-in-law without being tracked down? The mother-in-law can't be charged with trespassing? Sounds like unlawful entry to me. Disclaimer, I'm not a lawyer. So I've always had problems with this woman. She makes out that she's super sweet and a nervous woman, but she'll wait until everyone is out of the room and make scathing comments to me, then deny it. Sometimes she acts like she likes me, and then the next she is back to her old shod. She babysat for us last night so we could use a restaurant voucher we had sitting around. She told me how lovely my tree looked and was going on and on about it. I told her it had taken me hours and I had restarted it a few times because I'm so particular about it, and was really happy with how it turned out. We come home and don't go into the living room, and she goes home, doesn't mention anything at all about the tree. Come downstairs this morning to see this absolute freak has redecorated my tree. She has taken all the decorations and essentially put them all in a big cluster together. She's even went round the back and taken them off. My tree is on a table and is touching the ceiling almost. There is no way this was an easy feat for her. I know this woman thinks she knows better than everyone, but seriously, who in their right mind goes into someone else's home and redecorates their tree? not right in the head. OP was obviously proud of their decorations and that mother-in-law willfully and intentionally ruined it all. Let me know in the comments below if you've ever experienced something like this before. If you like the content and want to support the channel, like and subscribe right now or you'll be running on fumes. The next one is a little long, but there is a totally unexpected turn of events. So, my mother-in-law was always a big fan of Turkish/Arabic dramas. She's the definition of white. We live in a fairly white country, but she obsesses over these dramas. Every time we come to visit them, she's watching some show, and comparing me to characters from these shows is her favorite thing to do. She always talks about how they got everything right in these countries, mainly that it's the daughter-in-law who moves into the husband's family and has to be her new family's maid, can't say anything rude to her in-laws, etc. I'm always compared to some secondary, envy of main character, probably first wife of main romantic interest, characters. Do all these dramas have the same story? She also talks a lot about how these women are much prettier than local thin-haired wimpy girl that means me lol. And how she'd like to be one of these mother-in-laws from the shows, drowning in her son's love and support, and how much she'd want her other sons to marry a girl like that. Well, last weekend's family dinner was a surprise. First of all, she wasn't happy at the very start when we arrived. Turns out her youngest son invited his girlfriend. Mother-in-law said with the most disgusting tone, and he had the gut to say that I'll like her. For the rest of the day she wouldn't shut up about how disrespectful her son was for not telling her about this girlfriend earlier, and how she knows beforehand it would be some stupid airhead farm girl from his uni. I guess I have to say that none of us knew he was dating someone, even the enabler brother who was pretty close to the younger brother. So we are preparing food, listening to these rants, when my DH asks, "Yeah, but what's her name?" And mother-in-law replies with, "I don't know." So, your son wants you to meet his girlfriend, and you didn't even bother to ask her name? When confronted about that, she said it's not like I want to know anyway. Yeah, about that. My DH texts his brother to tell us the name of the girl and when to expect them, and she has some unusual for our city clearly Middle Eastern name, like IDK, Firuz. You should have seen my mother-in-law's eyes being rounder than a pumpkin. Her jaw literally on the floor. The cooking was left on me while she googles the hell out of this name and learned which culture it originated from etc etc. All this with comments like "He, youngest brother, was always the smartest kid of mine. And I can't wait. Yeah, you called him a traitor like half an hour ago." Anyway, they finally arrive. Mother-in-law storms to hug the girl, screaming her name in the most repulsive sweet voice she could do. She takes her hand and shows her the house, like she came to live with them. She almost instantly asks her where she is from, giving me a cringe attack. The girl does look really ethnic, several rings in her ears, Mendy, long beautifully curly hair. There's not many girls like that in our city. By the time of dinner, mother-in-law invites this girl to sit beside her. She says that she wants to sit with her boyfriend. Mother-in-law replies, "We can move the middle brother, and you can both sit with me." This girl straight up turns to her boyfriend and asks him, "Do you want to sit there?" The younger brother was always shy and a little submissive, but guys, he was a different person that night. He said, "No, let's sit with my husband," and I have never seen him refusing his mother. What a day. The dinner, however, was horrible. Aside from all borderline racist statements and questions, mother-in-law complained about food constantly. I had to make most of it cause she was too busy googling the name origin and other stuff. It was a cycle, bashing my food, praising the girlfriend, because she definitely would have nailed the cooking, because girls like her are taught to cook for their family. The girl in question remains calm, ignoring the remarks and answering questions. But as you all know, no dinner with mother-in-law will be drama-free. Very soon she became bored and decided to do her favorite thing, berate me and her children. It started with my DH refilling my cup first, not hers, and ended up in her calling me fat and lazy for not refilling my own drink. This new girl says very loudly that she thinks I look good and mother-in-law is overreacting. You should have seen her face. Oh my god. She started talking about, "But in your culture parents always come first." and the girl has the courage to say, "That's why I left." Wow. It didn't help, by the way. Mother-in-law is angry, looking for a reason to pick a fight. She starts berating my husband for abandoning her, then her middle son for being lazy, and, finally, her youngest son. Basically he's a literature major, and she started talking about how unmanly that is, how he will never have any money, how all his love for literature is stupid, and he is just waiting to die somewhere far from home from overdose. Honestly, I feel ashamed telling you this, but I got so used to this, I didn't even think of saying something. His girlfriend though, she just said in such a calm, but threatening manner to her, "Stop." This single word. Then, completely ignoring her, she turned to her boyfriend and asked him, "Is this the way she talks to you?" At this point, everybody is shocked, speechless, except her. She starts talking about how ungrateful he is, and his girlfriend just lifts her palms up, like, "Stop." I'm appalled. She asks her boyfriend again, "Do you want to leave?" He says yes. Mother-in-law is screaming at this point, but to that girl it's no big deal. I'm absolutely terrified of my mother-in-law screaming. Everybody stays by the table while they stand up and start to leave. Mother-in-law also stands up and screams at them. But that girl acted like mother-in-law doesn't even exist. Her boyfriend is visibly scared, but happy to go. They say goodbye to us and leave through the door in the fence, while screaming mother-in-law shields the main door with her body, thinking they will go through that door. It is funny now, but back then it was just awful. We had to listen to the rest of the tirade while I cleaned the dishes, and also many racist slurs. I guess Middle Eastern girls are not the best women after all. By the time we got home I was a mess. I'm still sad when I think about it. I wish I was like that girl. I'm happy for my DH's younger brother and his girlfriend, but God, I wish I could protect my husband the same way and not be so scared of mother-in-law. But I feel like this dinner changed something in the way I look at her. For my husband too. He finally saw her ugly side and understood it's not normal. And I think next time I will have more courage to stand for myself. Thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe and turn on the bell or you'll be running on fumes. See you in the next video.